So Justin just posted his 3 favorite under-the-radar rookies for the 2024 class, so now's my turn to highlight 3 guys that I am falling in love with very early on in this rookie draft process. And we're going to start first with running back Bucky Irving out of Oregon. Now, if you're at all tuned in to college football or follow the draft analysts, you probably know who Bucky Irving is. He is a fairly big name already, but I think his stock is going to skyrocket post-combine to where we're talking about him as a potential top 50 NFL draft pick. And let me just cut right to the chase here. Bucky Irving is this class's Jahmyr Gibbs. From a size, speed, profile, and usage standpoint in college, he is the closest thing to Jahmyr Gibbs that we have in the 2024 class. He's listed at 5'10", 195 pounds, and he is a dangerous weapon in the receiving game, hauling in 56 receptions in 2023, after also catching 31 passes in 2022 for a combined total of 95 receptions through 3 years in college. That is just insane production through the air that joins players like Reggie Bush, Christian McCaffrey, and Saquon Barkley as other college running backs with 95 or more receptions in only 3 collegiate seasons. But on top of that receiving work, he was also very productive on the ground at Oregon, rushing for back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons on under 200 carries, with a career high of nearly 1,200 rushing yards and 11 rushing touchdowns this year in 2023. His only issue really is just his size. It's the same issue that people had with Jahmyr Gibbs last year because he wasn't 200 pounds, but we just watched Jahmyr Gibbs dominate as a rookie with the Lions, as well as Devontez Walker dominating in Miami when given the opportunity. And Bucky Irving is just another player of that exact same mold. He is insanely elusive. He actually finished 9th in the country in forced missed tackles according to Pro Football Focus, and those numbers come from elite agility and quickness in small spaces. He also offers amazing contact balance for his size, in part because he just has really strong leverage as a smaller yet compact running back. He's just super fluid. He is super slippery as a runner, and then when you pair those skill sets with his pass catching ability, you get yourself a dynamic weapon out of the backfield. And again, all of his weaknesses are just due to his size. He is not a pile driver. He's not going to run people over in short yardage situations, and tangentially to that is an overall deficiency in pass protection. It's just not an overall strong suit of his, and to Oregon's credit, they didn't really put him in positions to pass block, instead utilizing him as a route runner or as a safety blanket for Bo Nix in the flat. But yeah, that skill set is just something that he's going to have to learn in the NFL. He doesn't really have that coming out of college. Another point to bring up in contrast to the comparisons to Gibbs and Achane is just overall speed. Bucky Irving is not a burner like Gibbs and Achane. He's not going to run a low 4.3. He may not even break 4.4 in the 40-yard dash, but he is very quick in small spaces, like I said before, so I do expect his agility times to be elite at the combine. It's just the 40-yard time is just not going to be the best overall test for him. Now, there have already been some rumors that Bucky Irving could push for second-round draft capital, which would be amazing not only for him, but for this running back class in general. He definitely has a place in the NFL, just like Jahmyr Gibbs and just like Devontez Walker do right now. It'll just depend on which offense he lands on, like the LA Chargers to replace Austin Eckler or the Giants to replace Saquon Barkley. Any of those types of landing spots are really going to raise his price come rookie draft time. Another running back name that I've started to identify as my auto 3rd round pick this year is Audric Estime out of Notre Dame, and he is basically the complete opposite of Bucky Irving. Estime is listed at 5'11", 227 pounds, and boasts a 2-down skill set with very little to offer as a pass catcher. However, his rushing numbers in 2023 were some of the best in the country. He rushed for over 1,300 yards and 18 touchdowns on just over 200 carries. In fact, he was actually the most efficient runner with 6.4 yards per carry out of the 30 running backs with 200 or more carries in college this year. But as I mentioned though, his receiving production is very, very limited. He only had 17 receptions this year, 9 in 2022 for a career total of only 26 receptions in 3 seasons at Notre Dame. The real focus with Estime is that skill set on the ground, because as a runner, he is a powerful ball carrier with excellent patience and vision to wait for the hole and then attack the hole when it becomes available. And with that power comes the ability to shed arm tacklers and run through people as a downhill runner. However, with that size and skill set of a power runner comes all the weaknesses of that type of a player as well too. He's not very quick or explosive. He's kind of choppy sometimes with his footwork behind the line. I think he's just trying to be agile and quick, but he's just too big to really be able to do that, so he doesn't really have that ability to do that. And he doesn't offer the straight line speed of a breakaway runner as well too. And then for like the 3rd or 4th time mentioning this now, he is not a real weapon in the receiving game, but he rather acts as an emergency dump off if his quarterback gets in trouble out in the flat. So we have two sides of the coin here with Bucky Irving and Audric Estime, basically the perfect combination of skill sets to be the next David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs duo in the same backfield. Like literally, if the Cowboys wanted to recreate their Zeke Pollard tandem from 2022, they could just draft both these guys this year and both could see a huge increase in value from that. But in Estime's case specifically, I would love to see him be a primary handcuff somewhere off the bat, like a Zamir White or a Zach Moss, or have the upside to climb a depth chart like a Dameon Pierce or like a Roshan Johnson. If he lands somewhere like that on day 3, he's probably going to be on my short list of guys to draft in rounds 3 or rounds 4 of rookie drafts in May. And then finally, let's get a wide receiver name out there to keep an eye on through draft season, and that is Devontez Walker out of North Carolina. And let me just say that if you loved Jalin Hyatt last year, you should love Devontez Walker. But even if you weren't in on Jalin Hyatt, Walker is still someone to look at because I think he's a better prospect than Jalin Hyatt was. Tez Walker is listed at 6'3", 200 pounds, and he transferred into North Carolina in 2023 from Kent State and basically became the Josh Downs replacement as the wide receiver 1 for Drake May. In 8 games played due to eligibility issues from the transfer, Tez caught 41 passes for 700 yards and 7 touchdowns, which over a 13-game college schedule is good for over 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns on 65 receptions. But his breakout season actually came in 2022 at Kent State, where he caught 58 passes for over 900 yards and 11 touchdowns, including a massive 7 for 106 in one game against Georgia that season. The real reason why I comped him to Jalin Hyatt at the beginning is because this dude can fly. He is one of the fastest receivers in all of college football, and like Jalin Hyatt, one of Tez's biggest weaknesses right now is his route tree, because when you're faster than everybody on the field in college football, your role is mostly just 9 routes, and Walker definitely succeeded at that at both Kent State and North Carolina. But he does differ in a lot of places from Jalin Hyatt, not just in terms of multi-year production, but also the fact that Walker offers more tools in the bag than Jalin Hyatt did. First of all, Walker is bigger by about 20 to 25 pounds than Jalin Hyatt, and if he runs in the 4.3s, he's going to be faster as well too, at least in terms of timed 40-yard dash. Walker also, I think, is just a better ball tracker than Jalin Hyatt. He's better after the catch as well to be able to break tackles and works well in open space. And I did say that he is not a great route runner, but he does have a more expansive route tree than Jalin Hyatt did. He works well on posts. He works well on digs. He has numerous body control catches on the sideline as well. So he's not a complete one-trick pony like I thought Jalin Hyatt was last year, or like a lot of other just raw speedster types coming out of college. In fact, I actually think he's closer to like a Jalen Waddle or a Jameson Williams type of player who has game-breaking speed, but could offer more as a complete receiver than just that speed. Actually, as a Steelers fan, he reminds me a lot of Mike Wallace as that speedster plus kind of player, and Mike Wallace had 2 great seasons in Pittsburgh as the wide receiver 1A, 1B with a very aging Hines Ward. I think ultimately that is the upside here with Devontez Walker, is entering the NFL as a wide receiver 2 and then growing into that 1B kind of role, like a cheaper replacement for T. Higgins in Cincinnati's offense, or a much better Marquez Valdez-Scantling replacement in Kansas City with Rashee Rice. Those are the landing spots that I want to see if Devontez Walker lands on, and really determine if he's a trade target for me in the second round of rookie drafts. But as I mentioned at the start of this video, Justin also broke down his favorite under the radar rookies in the 2024 class. So if you missed that video, then you can check that one out right up here.